In 2008, for example, he predicted that the future of cinema was going to be 3D, and that audiences everywhere would own their own personal 3D glasses that they would call movie glasses. You know, like that ridiculous thing that totally didn't happen. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because 2008 is a year after Netflix launched. It's the year Hulu became a thing. It's a year that online movie piracy was a big concern. So we have this obvious foreshadowing to cinema in the digital age. And meanwhile, old school executives like Katzenberg are jazzing about 3D glasses like it's the Rainbow Bridge to Valhalla. So it's kind of no wonder why the film industry was blindsided by streaming. The straight-to-video model was traditionally seen as a vessel for sad sequels like Jarhead 3 and whichever Land Before Time we're up to. And suddenly, it became the preferred method for audiences. 14! Jesus Christ, Littlefoot, how have you not starved to death yet? Wasn't that like your whole thing, how you were all gonna die? Just die already! How long must you suffer? Will no one end your suffering? Who amongst us will step up and do the dark deed we all know must be done? Who will pay the unforgivable price so that this tiny bullshit dinosaur will finally know peace? Anyway, so this is the long road to Quibi. A streaming service started by a person who was grotesquely behind the curve when it came to the future of entertainment. And before even knowing the details of this app, you have to ask, why? Why, in a time where the market is already saturated with streaming options, someone thought it was a good idea to add another this late in the game? One that has zero established brands attached to it. And when you learn exactly what Quibi is, and that why expands like the Big Bang from a shotgun into Littlefoot's brain pan, releasing him. Peace. For startzos, the immediate gimmick of Quibi was inherently antithetical to what makes the entire streaming model successful, which was that Quibi shows could only be exclusively watched on your cell phone. The idea was that Quibi wasn't competing for your home television, but rather designed to inject entertainment into those moments between moments that you normally spend browsing social media. You know, waiting in line, commuting to work, taking a dump, or laying in bed while trying not to think about what it would be like to get buried alive. The obvious problem is that people like social media, and no one asked for something completely different to replace it. Those moments Quibi is trying to fill aren't moments we want to be glued to a TV show. They aren't moments that exist for specific lengths of time, which is why they are best filled by a passive, non-committal activity. And of course, one of the most common times we like to use our phones is when we're watching TV, which means that making us watch shows on our phones takes away the use of our phone. It's the kind of thing anyone with a phone would know, and could only be comically misinterpreted in a broad and cynical perspective from a very rich and out-of-touch person. Quibi's understanding of how young people use their phones seems to have all the nuance of a Facebook meme shared by that uncle who ain't gonna wear no damn mask. Please wear masks. In fact, one of the other features of Quibi is that it completely disables users' ability to share its content on social media, apparently unaware that this is literally the only way shows get popular anymore. While there's been no official reason for this, I'm guessing it's because of the very outdated worries about online piracy, a thing that doesn't really matter anymore. So yeah, it misunderstands everything. And this seems as good of a time as any to note that they spent $1.7 billion to make Quibi. That's enough money to make 485 episodes, or 48 seasons, of Lucifer. A thing you wouldn't want to do, but would still be a better idea than Quibi. A thing you barely know about, because apparently they didn't spend a dime of the $1.7 billion on marketing, or let people watching advertise for them for free via screenshots taken on the phone the show is forcing you to watch it on. Meanwhile, the popularity of streaming really just comes from the fact that it offers literally everything. Streaming is popular the same way video stores were popular, because they're how we watch things we want to watch. It's not a mystery. The answer is to just make good things and have them available. People are making high-quality shows and movies, and then we watch them on our TVs or laptops, or maybe sometimes our phones if we're like on a plane or something. The only big improvement to streaming is that it enabled people to binge watch new TV shows commercial-free. But much like the obsession with 3D, there's this weird push to like change the physical shape of movies and TV, as if that would somehow make it automatically better or more fresh. And so along with being short, Quibi's other big push is that you can watch their shows on both landscape and portrait modes. Ooh, neat! No longer do I have to watch my favorite movies and shows from down the hall and through a doorway to get that desired cut-off vertical look. Because you've never really seen Lord of the Rings until you've watched only the middle part, or Earth, of the frame. But for like, I don't know, the last 90 years, it's really just been the one box shape we like to watch things on, right? Like, sometimes we go to a big room where we watch the box with strangers, and sometimes we use a box in our homes with friends. The box changed more to like a rectangle at one point, but that's about it. The box system works just fine. And every time you try to add some kind of gimmick to the box, people are usually like, nah, we're good with this box. So it really comes down to putting a thing on the box that is also good. Just telling a good story. And to be fair and balanced and ready for love, Quibi did know that second part of the equation, which is why it made deals for Quibi content with the likes of Steven Spielberg, Guillermo del Toro, Kevin Hart, Jennifer Lopez, Jason Blum, Queen Latifah, Tom Cruise, Sam Raimi, Ridley Scott, the Farrelly brothers, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Soderbergh, and Mark, I did a hate crime and would rather you forgot about it, Wahlberg. If you were making a movie or a TV show, then these would all be very smart choices. And even better if you crammed them all into one super movie, like some kind of a space horror slapstick comedy where a group of kids find a sexy fish person who learns to love themselves as a strong, independent woman who also committed a hate crime when they were a teenager in Boston. You could call it Ku Klux Cod, and it would be terrible. It would be a bad movie, if I'm being honest. But, Quibi isn't making a movie or a TV show or my shitty fish idea. They're making short-form narrative and non-fiction content, not dissimilar to the things that go viral on the internet. So, you know, it's a little weird that they didn't go to the people who actually have success making those things. Kind of like how Saturday Night Live picked up The Lonely Island. Quibi should have perhaps made offers to the people behind internet content like 5-second films and Red Letter Media, Every Frame a Painting, like so many people online who make stuff. And I don't know, maybe in a time where comedy websites are like laying off a lot of people, it would mean there are a lot of experienced writers and performers looking for that kind of work. Hey everyone, we have a Patreon, check it out in the link below. But instead, Katzenberg called all his industry pals and had them just do the stuff they would normally do, and then crammed it into this new format. They made an adaptation of The Most Dangerous Game and a reboot of The Fugitive with Kiefer Sutherland. And like, who is going to watch that? What high schooler or on-the-go millennial are you picturing when you decided to make The Most Dangerous Game for your weird streaming app? And because a lot of these Quibis are made by people who normally make movies or TV shows, they didn't actually do the work to make it fit the mobile format. The Most Dangerous Game is apparently a good movie, but it was cut into smaller pieces and then released daily, meaning that you'd have to wait a day to see the next 10 minutes of the movie. Here's a shot of it in the regular landscape mode. And now here it is in portrait mode. They didn't change it to see the whole frame or both of the characters. It's